talk about using fabric scraps to make collages. In our fiber art section, and by the way, fiber arts means making art with yarn, thread, and fabric as a part of our art. So in our fabric area, there might be two different bins. One bin might have sheets of fabric. The other bin might have fabric scraps. Today we're only going to be using fabric scraps. So the fabric scrap bin should have some cut up fabrics that are left over from other people's projects, or some thread, or some little yarn bits. Those are all mixed up in our fabric scrap bin. So you can dig through and find some interesting prints. And if you have any that you like, you can take it to your seat. If you find any interesting yarn or thread that you would like to use, you may use that as well. So now I have my collection of interesting fabrics, yarn, and thread that I would like to use for my collage project. So you're going to also need a background paper, and you could even use a bigger sheet of fabric that you found as your background, or you could use some cardboard. That way it's going to be a little bit more sturdy. Before you start your projects, always write your name on your paper with pencil. Name should go on the bottom corner. Make sure that you write your class code and flip your paper over so that your name is on the back. Other than your background and your fabric scraps, you're also going to need some scissors. You could try using your regular scissors, but fabric is a little bit tough to cut with regular scissors. So if you're having a hard time, you can come borrow some fabric scissors. Now, fabric scissors are a premium tool, so you have to come borrow it from Mrs. Poole directly. One thing to remember about fabric scissors is that these are only for fabric. If you use it to cut paper or anything else, it's going to make it dull and it won't work for cutting fabric anymore. So if you borrow fabric scissors, please make sure to only cut fabric. So of course you can make any kind of collage using the fabric pieces and your background paper that you have, but I'm going to try and do a mixed media collage and drawing. And for this one, I'm going to cut up my fabric pieces into different kinds of shapes. So I have some cut out pieces of fabric and yarn, and I'm going to put the leftover fabric aside. Don't throw those away because we might use them later. So you could, of course, arrange this into making a abstract collage, which is absolutely fine, but I think I want to turn these shapes into some different characters and drawings. So I'm going to arrange it into, I think I'll maybe turn it into a little bunny character. So I loosely arranged it on here, and now I'm going to need some glue. There are of course very many different kinds of glue that you could use, including stick glue, bottle glue, or watered down white glue with a brush. I would not recommend stick glue for cloth or fabric or yarn because it will likely fall off. So we're not going to use that. Either one of these should work just fine. So if you're using watered down bottle glue, you're just going to flip over your fabric pieces, brush it on. If you're going to use bottle glue, you might have to pick off the crusty parts, shake it a few times, make sure it's open, and you can do dot, dot, not a lot. Never squeeze and make a puddle because that'll make a big mess. Or you could use the bottle glue to make a snail trail. As when you press down lightly on the bottle, make sure that the orange part of your bottle glue is touching your fabric and make a really skinny trail. Make sure to close it when you're finished. And I'm going to start to glue it onto my background. So now I have my basic shapes on my paper. Now I'm going to, of course, add some details. Details are little things that make your artwork more interesting. And it also helps people figure out what your picture is about. So my idea was to make a little bunny character. So I think he needs a face. You could keep collaging with your fabric pieces to make your face pieces and other parts, or you could also layer some paper on top. So I think I'm going to try paper. So I just found these pieces of paper in my scrap bin. And if you can't find the right size or the color of paper that you need for your project, then you can always come get some paper from me too. So remember not to use the fabric scissors on paper. So set this aside or return it and switch to your regular paper scissors. And whenever you cut your paper, make sure that you're not cutting into the paper and cutting in the middle. Always cut from the side and the corner. That way you're not wasting your paper and the next person can reuse what you didn't use. So this goes back in the scrap bin if you're done. Using my glue, snail trail,
So good.
Oh, thank you. And now we have the base for the face. I think I will actually use that same color paper to make a little tail. So again, I'm using a corner. And making a little tail. Now I'm going to make the eyes. Again, cutting out from the edge. Now for the little details, you can continue to cut details with fabric or paper to cut and glue, or you could switch to drawing. So I think I'm going to do the small nose. Little teeth. And then I think I want to make my bunny's eyes sparkly. Made little highlights in the eye, and I think I want to add some details for inside of the ears with some more fabric. Oh, I forgot to switch to fabric scissors. So now I have my collage, and of course, you could always add a background. You could do it with collage with fabric, collage with paper, or you could add some drawings in the back. If you make your picture big so it covers the whole paper, like my example, where there's not very much on the background, then don't worry about it. That's one benefit of making your pictures big to cover your space with little negative space. But if you made your picture a little bit smaller with a lot of negative space around your work, then you'll have to work on making a background. So when you're all the way finished, make sure that you put this in a drying rack because there's some wet glue on here. Your watered down white glue, make sure that you put your brushes back in and close it and return it to the collage box. Your bottle glue, make sure you close it all the way and put it in the collage box. Your fabric scissors, please do not return this to the collage bin because then somebody will accidentally use it for paper and it won't work anymore. So please bring this back directly to me. Your regular scissors can go back Now your fabric scraps. Remember that there's two separate bins, one for fabric squares that have bigger pieces and one for fabric scraps. Please make sure that you put it in the scrap bin, not the fabric bin. We want to keep those nice and big and square. The scraps go back in here. Don't throw them away because somebody might be able to use it for something else. Put it in the fabric scrap bin.